tonight, along with Aaron and Frosty. We're taking flight, tune in, level up, turn the quest. In the world of action, we're the best. Welcome to the Town Portal Podcast.
Why, hello everybody, and welcome to episode 3 of the newly established Town Portal Podcast. My name is Aaron, the owner and operator of the YouTube channel Action RPG, and again, we have an awesome show for you planned. My co-host, Frostylaroo. Say your hello, sir. How's it going?
Hey, thanks, Aaron. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Town Portal Podcast. I would like to introduce you all to Andre, the community manager for Torchlight Infinite. We have him here today. Before we get started, I want everyone to know that I'm a new player to the game, while Aaron has a lot of more experience with the game. So I'll be coming from a more general question side of the, the questions. But no worries, I have a lot of questions from the community on Reddit, so which we all know will go perfectly fine. Anyway, let's get started. Some general questions. Let's get started with some general questions.
Wait, let Andre introduce himself first.
Oh.
He can say hi.
Look, you shouldn't have had me do this, Aaron.
Andre, say hello. Tell everyone hi. Everyone wants to know if your background's real too. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, my background is definitely real. No, I just got it from a subreddit. I think it's called Neckbeard Caves, Neckbeard Net, something like that. Yeah, so I'm Andre. I'm the new community manager for Torchlight Infinite. I've just been onboarded halfway through the last season through Whispering Mist, and previously I was working on 2 other XT titles. So previously I was doing T3 Arena, which is this kind of like arena-based MOBA shooter kind of game, and I was helping out with this upcoming TRPG, which is called Sword of Convalaria. And then they basically decided, oh, okay, maybe we kind of need to start taking things more seriously for the Western market for Torchlight, so maybe let's get some extra people on there, and yeah, that's where we are right now.
Oh, very, very cool. Did you take... People are asking if that's Asmongold's house, the background.
I cannot make any comments about Asma right now. We've been actually trying to reach out to him. So
Okay.
Oh my gosh, that is really, really funny. Okay. Andre, thank you so much for coming on episode 3. I know it's not easy, and I know you guys are very busy with the new season, Clockwork Ballet, coming tomorrow. Now, Frosty, feel free to ask your first question, sir. I know you're prepped and ready.
Yeah, my first question was going to be on your background, but the other background. But now I'm going to ask about your physical background there. Is that lemonade all the way in the back there? You have a bunch of lemonade bottles. Like, what exactly is that?
it's, you know what it is? It's when you don't want to take bathroom breaks.
Oh, okay. All right. Is this your at-home office or are you at work right now?
I'm going to say it's Gatorade. It looks like Gatorade. I'm going to say it's Gatorade.
It's called being efficient.
Okay, but yes. So for real, can you tell us generally about your background and how you got to be where you are now today?
Oh, great question.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. Yeah, so basically, I'm from Lisbon, Portugal. My actual background was very different. So I was actually a CPA before I got into this industry. I was an accountant. I was doing business development at a certain point, and my company just sent me over to China, and that was my first time coming here.
Oh, wow.
And then I basically realized, like, this is actually way different from what I thought. Like, there's actually a lot going on here. Maybe I should just stay. And I looked around at what I could get, and eventually I kind of got this, like, sort of very basic kind of internship position doing localization for video games. That was, like, my first foot into the industry. And I kind of just stuck to it from there, and T3 basically was my first venture into the whole community management, content creation content direction side of things, and I've stuck with XD since that project.
Wow. And how long
So-
have you been in China, and how was the experience like when you first got there?
It's been something like 5 years, going on 6 years
Oh.
so far. And I would say the overall experience is like a roller coaster. You know, at first you kind of have this, what do you call it, like passion period where everything is like so new and so exciting. You just love everything about being in a new country and a new culture. Then you kind of get homesick. And especially because I went through the COVID years here, and those were tough here because, you know, they were very strict on
Yeah.
lockdowns and whatever. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So then you're like, oh, God, I miss home. I miss Europe. But
And you haven't cleaned your desk since COVID. That's actually what it is. That makes sense.
you know what's funny? I'm not even joking right now. My actual apartment during the COVID years looked something like this because I was on actual lockdown. Like, I mean, lockdown, like locks on my door kind of lockdown. But yeah, then things get better. Then you kind of forget about that. There's also a lot of good stuff about being here. And I mean, working in the video game industry is in some ways kind of a dream come true because, like, you know, as a kid who basically grew up glued to his PlayStation, like having your mom in the back going like, you just need to go do your homework, just go study, like get a proper job. And then after 20 years, you're like, hey, Mom, I'm actually making money from this right now.
Does she still say get a proper job, or she gets it now?
I don't think she gets it, but at least she's like, she's relieved that, like, she knows it's a job. She just doesn't get it, I think.
What games did you play on your PlayStation?
So I grew up playing mostly JRPGs, a lot of Squaresoft stuff before it was Enix. So it's funny because I basically picked up English from going through Final Fantasy VII blind because I was really young. I was born in 91. So when it was published in Europe, I think I was maybe 6 or 7 years old at the time. My dad got me the game. It was the first Square game that I really got into. And I remember just going through GameFAQs walkthroughs at the time, but I really had no idea what was written in the walkthroughs either. And I don't know how many hours it took me to get the first clear, but yeah. So let me think. On the PS1, basically the entire Final Fantasy series, Chrono Cross. Then I later got into the SNES game through emulation because, you know, I'm not actually old enough to have played them on an actual SNES, so I just, you know, I'm not endorsing emulation. I work in the industry. I would never do that, but yeah, that's
too late.
how I got.
It's too late. That's it. No, keep going.
That's basically how I got into the other titles like Chrono Trigger and whatever. Going to next gen, let me think. PS2, I really started getting into the Persona titles. I started getting more into Atlas kind of stuff. PC-wise, I was always just playing more strategy games. Like Age of Empires was always huge in Europe. I don't know about North America, but it was a major thing here. Settlers, Age of Empires, those kind of games. Diablo 2 was pretty big here as well.
Yep.
Nice.
And yeah, and as of late, the only two games that really come out to me. Oh, I really got into the Souls series, but only from Dark Souls. I didn't play Demon Souls when it came out. I basically got into it from Dark Souls. And in recent years, like the only two things that really pop out to me are Elden Ring, which I put like 200 or 300 hours into that just during COVID lockdowns, and Disco Elysium. So those are probably like my main takeaways these past few years. And yeah, the remaining playtime on my free time is basically all put into Torchlight right now because I have a lot of catching up to do. Because, you know, basically I was on board through halfway through the previous season, and we do have internal guidelines. So when you get to a certain position, you should play until a certain level. You should unlock this and this and that. And
cool. And I think that's
example,
important So then you have an understanding of the game you're promoting and working for. I think that makes sense.
Exactly. So for example, for my position, the minimum requirement last season was reaching level 95, which last season was something like time marks 7/2, something like that. But to be perfectly honest, like you get to that point, and it's not like, oh, now I understand the game. Now it's like, now I finished the tutorial, and now I need to like start putting in a lot of work and start going through Discord and Reddit and going through all the builds and community discussions. So, yeah, that's basically where I am right now.
So how long have you been playing Torchlight? So you're talking the game's been out for 2 years. When was the first time you got to play it? Was it last season?
The first time I got to play the game was actually when I came to XD, because at first the company wasn't sure which project they were going to send me to, and they were kind of uncertain about Torchlight and T3. So I don't even remember which season that was at Torchlight, but the game was totally different from what it is right now. Like, going back to it this year, it almost feels like it's Torchlight 2.0.
Yeah, like it's a whole new game.
Yeah, for the better, in my opinion. And basically, last season, I basically started from zero. I think I've got something like, I don't know, 400 or 500 hours on Steam so far. But, you know, those are Steam hours. I wouldn't count them like that.
Yeah.
I'll say maybe, I don't know, maybe 200 hours of gameplay time at the most. And I feel like that's given me like a comfortable point to, you know, start doing community management for the game. But obviously, it's a progress that you need to build on, like not just knowing the game itself, but you know, you also need to start getting acquainted with all the creators like you guys. You need to start getting acquainted with all the players that are putting out the most quality builds or content and so on and so forth. So yeah, I would say it's a new beginning, basically. Kind of went on there. So.
No. You're totally fine.
Yeah.
Thank you for explaining how you made it there and your transition, because XD is in Shanghai, right?
Yeah, exactly. We're located in the Shanghai office right now, including me.
Okay. Quick answer. How long does it take you from your apartment to get to work? I'm just curious.
It's quite far right now because now I'm living in the city center and the apartment. So I would say 1 hour commute each way, something like that.
Okay.
It's a big city. 1 hour is considered decent by Shanghai standards.
Okay. Since you have a couple of 100 hours into the game, you've worked for XD for a little bit now, you're the community manager in this genre. You've got the Diablo series. You've got Last Epoch. You've got PoE. You've got Chaos Bane, Inquisitor, Hero Siege. That's to name a few. Like this genre, some people consider it the golden age of action RPGs because there's so much competition.
It is. There is.
Working for XD, promoting Torchlight Infinite, what would you like to tell people why they should select to play this game? What do you think?
First of all, I want to ask people something very honestly and directly.
Oh, crap. This is off script. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
I mean, you know, as a Western player, you know, I'm assuming most people dropping into this podcast, they all grew up playing on PC. We do have a very strong prejudice against mobile gaming in general, and especially games developed here, where I am right now. But I would say if you can get past the UI and some parts of the monetization system, which we can discuss more in depth later, you will find that Torchlight is probably one of the best ARPG offerings out right now, and it's totally free. I would say it's very honest and straightforward about what it's trying to do. It's got a very fast, clear, streamlined mechanic. It was developed in a way such as that basically any build can make it to endgame. Of course, you when you get to the end game, you're probably going to be stuck in the FE grind, but that would be similar for all other ARPGs.
Yep.
And I think it's very addicting. It's very fast paced, and you can clear each seasons, each leagues in other games terminology, each league's content in basically just 1 or 2 weeks. So I basically think that for new players who aren't sure about it, it's totally worth including into your rotation. So basically, let's say you're done grinding something for the latest league from your top pick, and you're like, oh, now I have a lot of downtime. I don't know what I want to do. Give Torchlight Infinite a try, and I can promise that you will not be disappointed. You'll very likely be pleasantly surprised by what is a very good ARPG behind maybe a less than ideal UI and mobile monetization scheme, which are both being improved right now.
Yeah, I heard about the UI improvements. So can you go a little bit into that?
So that's basically something that we've been pushing for very hard for the global side of things. First, I can give you guys like a very basic insight into our player makeup. In the Western market, a very significant portion of players are actually on PC. They're playing through Steam, not mobile at all. And if you actually go through our Steam review comment section, it gets pretty nasty. And one of the major concerns is actually regarding the
Let's
UI.
see.
So what happens? Yeah.
Go ahead. No, you're good. Go ahead.
No, you should actually pull it up because, I think they're being honest. Some of them,
Alright.
I think they're a little rushed. Some of them, I think they just get scared off before diving too deep into the game. But yeah, basically, the game was originally developed for mobile. As we know, it was developed in China. China does not have the same history of PC gaming as we do. Gaming itself started much later here due to content restriction laws, basically in the 90s and early 2000s. And by the time gaming got established here, it was during the smartphone generation. So that's why it's so smartphone centric. But yeah, we've been making a huge push for them to develop a brand new UI system that, it actually works and feels like a proper PC UI should. So for example, for this upcoming season for SS5 Clockwork Ballet, we do have this new inventory system, which is optional. You can revert to the old one if you want to. I don't know why you would do so on PC, but and the new inventory is basically a much more traditional RPG inventory where you have the full character, you have the whole thing. And we're developing in a way in which it's going to work more similarly to PoE. So basically, the inventory should not pause the game, and then you can pause the game via the escape key, basically.
That would be very, very nice. And we'll look at it later. I've got the teaser that XD put out for the PC UI on X. So I do have that pulled up for later as well that we could take a look at.
Oh, I got scolded for that one.
Did you?
Why? What happened?
I'm a dumbass, so I was using the internal test build for that, and I just recorded the whole thing through OBS, and it just went out, and then my manager was like, "Andre, you dumbass, the GM console is on there."
Perfect.
Oh.
Good. We'll look at
Well,
it
we're going to
together.
show it.
I've already got it pulled up. Perfect.
It's out there.
Hey, that's
Hey,
okay. We all make mistakes. It's all right.
I was like, "Should I take it off?" He was like, "Nah, it's fine. It's not that big of a deal." But it is what it is.
Yeah, as long as you don't pay it, tell anybody, no one will notice. Well, now that you've said it, though, we'll all notice. So.
It's called what's it called? The Barbara Streisand effect? Is that what you guys call it?
Something like that.
Yeah, we used to call it that. I'm not sure what we call it now. But yeah, people are asking real quick, when did you get your hair cut, and why'd you do the hairstyle change?
Oh, I was actually like this most of my life and for all previous projects. So, yeah, funny story about that. So I first grew out my hair during the end of my previous project's life cycle. And players actually started making jokes about it. They were like, "Oh, that's where he took the server money. He went and got hair plugs."
Oh my god.
It's perfect.
Oh, the internet.
Andre, I don't know if you can share. When I was asking community earlier during the pre-show for questions, someone asked a good question that I am also very curious about. The entire player base for Torchlight Infinite. What is the breakdown for how many play on PC compared to how many play on mobile? Are you talking? I would guess the much larger majority is on mobile, but I have no idea.
Let me see if I can pull that up right now. I of course am not able to give you the actual specific data, but I think
But like
general
70 30,
breakdown.
90 10, like that's kind of.
Yeah, I believe that should be allowed. Let me just pull up the data here.
I'm going to guess 80 20. That's my guess. 80% play on mobile, 20%
Oh, really?
other platform. That would be
A
my
lot of
guess.
people have phones, you know?
What, you don't have phones?
Yeah, a lot of people got phones.
It's pretty even. So, actually no. Okay, surprisingly, because PC and Steam are. We have some players that were counted as PC, not Steam. I don't know why. Maybe they're logging in through a separate client. So yeah, for the global build, which is the only one that I have access
Yeah.
to, I don't have access to the China data. PC is actually number one. Then we
Really?
have Google Play. Yeah, PC is number one, and then we have Google Play, and then we have the App Store. The App Store is actually behind Google.
But at the apps, so you're talking iOS, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
So iOS
Yeah,
and
iOS.
Android combined is less than PC.
No. iOS and Android combined is more than PC.
Okay.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
separately-
Okay.
Yeah, but separately, it would be Steam or PC would be number one, then Android, and then iOS.
If you combined Android and iOS, what's the percentage?
It will be more than PC. Yeah. It will be more than PC.
60
So
40.
mobile is still.
We need the numbers.
I can't give you the actual numbers, but I can tell you it's closer than you think.
Okay.
Okay.
And that includes
Respect.
the China market, the
No,
Chinese
no
market.
China.
Okay, that's
No,
including the Western market.
Only the Western market, yeah. So basically, the platform, the console that I have access to, it only includes the global build. So basically, all markets outside of China, because they have their own build.
Got it.
So basically, mine, it includes information from basically Japan, Korea, all of Europe, North America, etc.
Got it. Okay.
Okay. So if you get caught like on your phone, but like you're playing Torchlight at work, like that considered working?
Oh yeah, we're expected to do that. It's part of
nice.
the house.
That's awesome.
No, I've actually had fights with coworkers at previous
You
projects.
better be on your phone.
Yeah, exactly. You should actually play the game that you're doing. Like, come on, bro. Like, you're doing marketing or whatever for this game, and like you barely know the game.
I have a very important question. Have you ever played Last Epoch?
Actually, no, I have not.
Oh,
right.
geez.
That will conduct today's Town Portal pod. No, I'm just kidding. Never? If I gave you
No.
a copy, would you try it?
Yeah, of course. I could actually even live stream it myself. I think it will be fun.
Well,
I don't
that's
think it will
pretty
be.
cool.
I don't think it will be a problem for XC either if I did that.
Yeah, it'd be like you want to know the competition so that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
I mean,
we
can
do
you
have-
buy yourself. Yeah, go on.
We do have people on the team which are basically playing the competition, I would say, but I see a lot of PoE actually. I see more PoE than I see people playing Diablo, but I don't think I've actually seen that many people playing Last Epoch. I can
They
check it
will.
out as well. It'll be fair, like I'm here on the live stream inviting people to check out Diablo, to check out Torchlight,
Oh,
to check
All right,
out
I'm down
Torchlight.
for that. That's great.
So I think it would be fair enough if I also give Last Epoch a try myself.
you should know, Andre, that you are talking to the #1 Diablo 4 super fan. That's Frosty. He's the #1 D4 super fan. So.
That's me. I'm a Giga Chad. I love D4. It is my favorite game. No other game even comes close. And if you say it does, you're lying. But more on that later. Real
What
quick
about
before we
past
get into
Diablo games?
past Diablo games, they're good. They're just trying to be Diablo 4.
Don't listen to Andre. Don't listen to him.
They've
Don't
copied so
don't
much from Diablo 4, it's ridiculous.
don't feed the troll. Don't do it.
But yeah, before we get into the more in-depth questions on the season, real quick, I'm pretty new to Torchlight. I played this last weekend. I got to 74. Just randomly, where did the word Torchlight come from for the game?
From the actual Torchlight series, I would guess.
Yeah. Just do you know why they decided to call it Torchlight? Diablo, it's because they're fighting Diablo.
Isn't it you have to
Wasn't it because of the actual Diablo guy? Wasn't the guy actually called Diablo?
It's about the demon Diablo.
No, I heard that it was about the producer's friend, which was called. Hold on, I have to Google.
Okay,
this.
you know more about Diablo than you do about Torchlight at this point with the name.
I thought So there's Torchlight 1, 2, and 3, and then Torchlight Infinite, which was a licensed product from Torchlight to use.
Exactly.
Yes. I believe the Torchlight isn't it in the first games you had to light the torchlight? Wasn't that it or something like that?
Okay.
It was some
what
crap
about
like
Infinite?
that.
What's the Infinite?
It's
There's a joke about it going on a community guide. Am I allowed to say it? I saw it on a review once. Oh God.
It's okay if you I don't really want to get you in trouble, but yeah, definitely say it.
It's actually not true, by the way. The monetization is not that bad. But I saw a review once that was like, it's called Infinite because that's the amount of money you can spend on the game.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. No. It's actually not like that.
Don't worry, the Diablo 4 superfan will compare it to Diablo Immortal later. So we'll
not even Diablo Immortal. I think you can infinitely spend in Diablo Immortal, but if Diablo 4 has a great monetization situation going on with the $70 game, $30 pre-order, the $20 battle pass with $65 cosmetics, and we're making fun of a free-to-play game where you can maybe get like a few heroes that you can earn in-game while playing. It's great. It's what we do over here.
And speaking of that, speaking of being a $70 game, I mean, obviously, I can't give you guys specific numbers again, but the interesting thing is that if you actually average out the income by player on a game like Torchlight, even accounting for all the whales, it's not even gonna
$35.
It's nowhere close to what a AAA game costs. Like nowhere. It might be less than many indie games on Steam. I can tell you that.
Okay.
I know this is so far-fetched. I get asked this question and brought up all the time when I stream TLI. Has XD ever considered splitting it? So obviously they're never going to take it to a retail cost because that would kill the mobile side of it. But basically, you now have Torchlight Infinite Mobile, and then you pull out anything pay to win, anything gotcha, and you turn in Torchlight Infinite into its PC version with a retail price with that stuff removed. I don't even know if it's possible, but
I would say you're onto something. That's all I can say.
Okay.
Now with a retail price, that is not what's being considered, but there are discussions about how to better adapt the game for global audiences. Let's just say that it's not gonna go on retail at a full sale price. That's not the plan, but let's just say that we're discussing how to address the community concerns that have basically prevented the game from taking off as we hoped.
Any considerations to bringing the game to console in the future?
It's not in our short-term plans, but we do have the precedent right now because actually one of our other upcoming titles, the other one that I'm working on, Sword of Cavaleria, it's actually going to be published on Steam, on Switch, on the Nintendo Switch.
Oh, cool.
So that's going to be our actual console launch. So if that goes okay, maybe it's enough for us to incentivize the developers here to also go for a console push, but definitely not on our short-term plans. PC, I would say, is our main focus right now.
I was going to save this question for when you're between two red portals, but I feel like this is a perfect transition point. Financially, how is XD doing with Torchlight Infinite as far as runway goes? Any concerns about future seasons not being possible? How's that going?
I can tell you very straightforward that if I'm being brought into a project halfway, it means that they're like actually adding manpower to the project. So
Okay.
I think that can tell you something about the game's current state. They're actually increasing investment into the game.
Yeah, they're not pulling people away or...
Exactly. So basically, I can maybe also give you a little more insight about the past development of Torchlight without getting into anything too specific. So, in my own personal opinion, and this is not representing XD as a whole, I think the initial launch was a bit too rushed. And I think the original project was not what we would call a 1.0 build. And what I'm guessing from my personal perspective is that the reason for that is that at the time, XT was managing a lot of projects and most of them were not doing very well financially. So the company had a lot of pressure to push forward their publishing schedules. And Torchlight might have been one of those. What actually happened this past year is that due to the ongoing development and the massive efforts, mostly from the development team, the game has actually seen season-on-season improvements as far as numbers such as player retention and so on and so forth go. So I would say Torchlight right now is at a more stable point where it can consider expanding investment, basically.
Nice.
Okay.
I wouldn't say the game is making a fortune. That's not what I'm trying to portray here. But
yeah, but it's not shutting its doors.
Yeah, I would say that it's stable and it has long-term plans.
Okay.
All right. I mean, Aaron, I might actually get into this season here unless you got any questions before I jump in.
No, I am ready to transition to the next part unless you have more questions before we move over to the season stuff.
Is the next... Okay, let's see. I have one more question before we go to the season. What is your favorite hero? And what... actually, no, that's just it. There's a second part seasonal.
So, favorite hero first, right?
Yeah.
I was basically playing mostly with Gamma last season just because apparently she had like one of the cheapest builds to go with last season, and I didn't want to spend that much time grinding FE. So, of course, new season, new hero. I'm probably gonna main Carino this next season, but I did check him out last season.
That's
and
right.
I was, yeah.
Sorry.
I know you're a Carino main, yeah.
That's all I play.
I also tried going with him last season. I don't know. I got like up to time mark 7, and I was like, oh god, what am I doing? Like this. I just got one of those like beginner builds from Natural, I believe, and then I was like, oh no, this is cursed. Like now I have to like revise this whole thing, and I was like, no, I cannot be bothered.
Oh, we have a max roll question for later too. Not right now. Good, Frosty?
Geez, yeah, I'm good. I mean, I got a lot of random questions, but we can just keep going. I mean, let's go.
Moving on.
I'll ask it later.
And everybody at the end of the podcast, we will have Q&A. So anybody watching on YouTube or on Twitch or X, I will read your question out. All right, switching on to part 2 of our Town Portal podcast. And Andre now has an extra screen. Isn't this night? The new season, Clockwork Ballet. Now, what we're going to be looking at together is we're going to play the basically 90-second trailer together. We're going to check out the new hero. We're going to check out the new PC UI. And then if we have time, if he really wants to, we'll look at some reviews. I don't know how value added that will be, but that will be up to Mr. Andre. And then we'll hit
I think we can do it.
Okay.
I think we can do it.
All right. We're going to start off with our extra screen by taking a look at the new seasonal mechanic that is coming tomorrow on the 4th of July. Enjoy.
I didn't make it.
Yeah, so that is one of the trailer. There's multiple videos. I just picked the one with Bing the Bomber in it. Clockwork Ballet, 4th of July, 7 p.m. PDT. Okay, I was going to save this question for later. As a Western audience member, why in God's name did you guys pick the 4th of July to release the season? Have you seen the movie Independence Day? Sorry, that's never mind.
Yeah. No, I actually had a song in my mind right now. So it's 4th of July by Soundgarden. No, I think, oh God, am I gonna get in trouble? Oh God.
You don't have to answer. Don't say something that's going to get you in trouble.
Yeah. You just make up something if you want.
No, I can be perfectly honest. Well, as much as possible.
This is all allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly.
Yeah. The main reason for the update coming when it's coming, so basically tomorrow for me, maybe later tonight. Oh, I'm getting mixed up with that.
It's because it's Thursday for you right now, correct?
Yeah, for me it's Thursday right now. Yeah. For you guys, it's still Wednesday. Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, the reason for it this date was to try to not 100% go head-to-head, toe-to-toe with the other releases coming out right now.
Okay.
So basically we thought maybe let's move it around a little bit, push it up maybe a week or two, and
there it is. Yep. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And that's what I figured.
Yeah.
What other releases were you trying to avoid?
Oh, basically everything is coming out this month.
Yeah, July is a heavy game drop month for sure. Okay, so Andre, the floor is yours for a little bit. Why don't you tell all the viewers about the new season Clockwork Ballet?
Okay, so basically, if you haven't seen the whole season preview thing, please go watch it. It's relatively in depth. We did add a lot of things after the season preview was finished because, the final build was actually only delivered today. So that means up until yesterday, the developers were still actually tinkering with a lot of things. So if you really care about specific numbers, the patch notes are worth looking into because they were revised 2 or 3 times. So basically, quick overview. We have this whole new season, Clockwork Ballet. It comes with its own new seasonal gameplay, which is going to be taking place inside the maps this season. So yeah, I know a lot of players do not like the idea of having to take a portal somewhere else, like going out of the main action. So basically in the maps right now, you're going to have this new NPC called Alice 451. You talk to her.
She's right here.
Yeah, she has nice physics. You're You're gonna talk to her. You basically get 3 dialogue options, and the minigame just starts from there. Then you get rewards based on your performance in each minigame inside the map, and then the seasonal mechanic has its own season talent system, passive system, basically. We have a new hero trait, of course. It's gonna be the new Carino, Zealot of War. Yeah. Aaron was very excited telling me he's a Carino mate.
Well, I'm excited and mad because, like you said, there's lots of competition. There's the first Descendant, and then there's Final Fantasy, and then there's Last Epoch, and then there's Once Human, and then there's Diablo 3 Season 32. And then you literally, out of all the games I just mentioned, Torchlight Infinite is in between them all. And then later in July, there's the new season of PoE. And then first week of August, there's the new season of Diablo 5. So for me as a content creator and streamer, somehow I have to try
Diablo
and
5.
balance all of this. Anyway, sorry, go on.
Yeah, basically new hero trait. There was a massive overhaul to crafting. So if you're coming from previous seasons, that's probably going to be the biggest change. You can now craft legendaries, which is a huge thing. So, for example, for someone like Frosty, this might not make a lot of sense.
It's okay.
But,
Frosty doesn't know what energy is yet.
I have a bunch of Reddit questions I'll be asking during this, and it won't be from me, but it will sound intelligent. But go on.
Okay. So basically, if you were playing previous seasons of Torchlight, what you would find is that, first of all, drops were not satisfying. You felt like after the tutorial, basically all drops were garbage, and you were basically just ignoring them, and you were just basically grinding currency for the auction house. And all the endgame builds were also only using rare gear, which is a shame in my opinion, because legendary gear has a lot of fun and interesting mechanics that rare gear doesn't necessarily have. So basically what this season was trying to do is first try to make drops in general more viable, so that you don't feel like I'm just skipping through piles of garbage on my screen while just grind currency for the auction house.
That's exactly how it is. It's like it's all literally all you do is flame elementium. That's all you're trying to get. Every once in a while you get an item, and normally it's like a T21 or a precise skill that'll give you a couple hundred, but that's mainly what it is.
Yeah, so basically that was my experience as well, because last season was my first season playing Torchlight very seriously, and that's what I felt when I first came here. And I was like, wait, why am I just there's nothing I can use. Like, you get to the end game, grind relatively fast, and it's like, well, no, I'm just grinding for FE. So basically that was one of the issues they were trying to address. was making drops in general not just more rewarding, but also making the transition from the mid game to the end game more stable and more in line with the overall game philosophy, because Torchlight is hoping to be a more streamlined, fast-paced offering compared to the competition.
Let me pause you right there. There might be some people watching that have never actually seen gameplay. I'm going to show off right now the new hero, Carino, my favorite class in the game. And everyone can take a look at the fast-paced nature. For the people that stream this game, I'm good friends with Mike 1UP, and we actually call it PoE Light. And it's not comparing Torchlight to PoE. Don't get upset. All right.
We embrace that title, actually. We embrace it internally.
PoE Light, and it's PoE Light in terms of like speed, super zoom, pew, pew, and you have these monster AoE clearing skills. Check this out. New Carino. Carino's my boy. Me too. I actually think you're coming up to narrate this in a second.
Now I really can't wait to see how fast.
Who's this guy? What's all this hair right here? What is this? Who is that? Sorry.
This season's first clear is going to be, and also stay tuned for some brand new speedrun events coming this season.
The bullets. Dude, the attack speed on this character looks insane, by the way. Tech, good luck.
This season, Carino is making his return as the Zealot of War. When all hope of revenge is lost and the bullet scene is gonna turn from the judgment of justice to the venting of pain, Carino falls from being a noble ranger upholding justice to a restless Zealot of War. Zealot of War Carino can actively switch combat modes to adapt to different battle scenarios. When facing countless mobs, he adopts mobility mode to move agilely and effortlessly around the battlefield. When dealing with stronger foes, he switches to annihilation mode, pouring all the bullets in his chamber towards the target. If the Zealot of War activates his hero trait, blank shots, he can continue shooting even after running out of ammo, providing powerful and lasting firepower coverage. However, this massive damage comes with a downside. When the machine gun overheats, it enters a lengthy cooldown. To counter this, the Zealot of War's traits
Have you
offer
got to play
various
this yet,
tactical
Andre?
options. You can cool the machine gun for rapid movement or utilize the overheated muzzle to enter burning red mode, making his damage output even more terrifying.
That you see here is recorded from our internal test build, so some minor things might actually change when the final build comes out, but should be relatively close.
That's 13 projectiles coming out, the bullets.
Moreover, memory and relics provide even more possibilities for the Zealot of War.
No. Ranger
That's one of the
With his
that's one of the
versatile
really
combat
fun things about Torchlight, especially if you're coming from a background in games like shoot 'em ups, like those old arcadey horizontal shoot 'em ups, is that when you start filling out your passive your passives, like the screen doesn't look like a traditional RPG anymore. Like it's basically just a bullet hell kind of thing.
Yeah. Since you have played the class, as someone like me that likes Carino, do you think I will like the new character? I have some people in chat that try to race me every season, and they're not very good. So they're wondering if they're going to have a better chance with me playing the Zealot of War, or will I be stronger? What do you think?
I would say that at this point, it's too premature for me to make any solid conclusions.
Okay.
Because I don't know if you've been through the patch notes or not, but basically a lot of things were changed for this season. So I think the whole meta is going to change so much that, I can't say with safety, hey, this class is going to do better, this class is going to do worse. I have to wait at least 1 week to see how badly players are going to break the game, basically.
Okay. That's fair. That is fair. You want to ask one of your questions, Frosty?
Yeah, you were mentioning the change to the crafting system earlier. Is this something that solo self-found people are going to enjoy? I know I don't really like using the auction house as much, so is this going to give more power to the solo self-bound players?
So, solo self-found is basically another issue as of itself. So, okay. So first of all, we made a lot of changes into legendaries, and looting in general has been adjusted. So what this means is that, in theory, solo self-found players should have a lot more mats going forward.
Okay.
Auction house is still major though, right?
Yeah. So,
I feel like Frosty, and I could jump in for a minute. I've played this game every single season with the exception of, I think there was the Graveyard Eternia or Eternium, whatever it was, season, because it happened to launch the exact same time as Last Epoch. But this game is really big on player-driven economy. So a lot of times it is you are farming up enough currency to go buy the said item that you need, because your chances of actually grinding and getting that perfect drop is tough. Or in other ways is you are crafting your end game gear. So there are times where you could play solo self-found, but even sometimes when you're crafting, you want to find that good base. So you're purchasing the base from the auction house to be able to craft it for your end game build.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, speaking of that, I have a question from Reddit I don't understand. Excadium asks, I would like to address my biggest complaint. Permanent auction house pages. It's disappointing that you need to buy them every season. This feels bad. Are there any plans to change this?
I mean, that gives you some, just you have to buy extras. Sorry, go ahead, Andre.
I don't know what that means.
Like, that goes with the whole seasonal monetization scheme, basically. The way that devs have monetized the game right now is that in order to ensure a consistent minimum of income, they need to ensure that there's basically a red line, a minimum of income that they can get every season that will allow safe and stable development going forward. And that actually comes from the season pass and the most season-related purchases. So I guess the reason for still not making the auction house slots permanent is because at the moment they still need to ensure that every few months they get that kick when the season comes. So is it going to stay like that forever? Is it going to change? I can't make any promises right now.
You know,
basically,
let me jump in for a second as someone that's played for a long time. I have never purchased extra auction house tabs. Now, if you're playing the game extremely serious, if it's your only ARPG, if you play it longer than a month, I could see why people want more space. I think I farmed 7,000 Flame Elementium over a few weeks last season. And I know there's different levels of players. So for me, 7,000 is a lot. But then you have some people that are like, oh, I farmed 500,000, right? Which is like, that upper echelon of tiers. So it just, the auction house tabs, I think I've never purchased them. I've never needed them. I feel like that one is not as big as a deal as normally what I get is that it sucks that I want to play the new content. I want to play the new Carino, but it's locked behind the battle pass, which again, you want to play the new thing. This game is free to play. That's how they keep the game going. But that's the one I see more than ever is, and I want to play the new Carino. I can't unless I spend money. That's
also something that has been discussed. The paywall for heroes. Because personally, I do think that it would be ideal if all heroes could be free. Whether that can be achievable or not, it's going to depend on whether we can transition to a different monetization scheme. So basically, can we implement something different that's going to allow us to sell less season passes, which that's one of the reasons that the heroes are locked behind the season passes, that we need that driving force.
of course.
Basically, can we come out with a different system that allows you to maintain a similar level of income while all heroes are free? If the answer is yes, then of course we would prefer for all heroes to be freely playable. So that's one of the issues that are currently under analysis with the development team and the team in charge of monetization.
Just add $65 horses to the game and you got it.
Who was the? I think the first game that actually did it was it Oblivion? How much did they charge
Oblivion.
for
I think it was like $2.
Really, for the horse armor DLC?
Yep.
I think it was more than that for just some horse.
It was so small. It was such a cheap amount. It's going to blow your mind.
Oh,
If you
2.5. 2.5.
Oh, okay.
And it was like,
Yeah.
and it
Every
was like-
time, Frosty, the $60 horse comes up in my chat, someone goes, it's not the cost of the horse, it's you get the platinum with it, and the horse is just the bonus. Someone's thinking that right now. Come on, tell the truth. Before we transition to the Steam comments, I have prepared something for you, Andre. This is very important to me. And before you comment, let me just publicly say this, okay? This is Ian, who was our old community manager who used to run this presentation, okay? I found this on stream earlier. I will personally pay for the creation and full shipping to get this Carino statue made and in my studio. I will also promote the game by having it in my background if I can get this Carino statue. Now, when I previously talked to XD, they said they only had one, and I swear on my life, I'm not kidding. They said, we can send you one of these little guys. I was like, I don't want one of those little guys. I want this. So I'm going to send you this picture. And the fact that I'm fully paying for it and it's going to market the game, I think it's a win-win. So
It is a win-win.
I do think we should, not only just, of course, give them out to creators, because, that makes perfect sense. It's free marketing for the game, basically. But I do think we should even sell them as merch. That's always been an issue for us because, oh, God, shipping game merch out of China, it's such a massive headache. It's the same issue for all XC games that I've done so far. None of them have like a decent merch ecosystem so far. I would love for us to actually sell these, maybe have them at some physical stores over a few select countries, a few select regions. Let's see.
you said Ian's still around too, right?
Yeah, he's still around. He was actually just messaging me on.
Tell him he made it to the podcast. He's probably like, God, I
He's
hated doing
asking me.
that.
He's watching.
Is he really?
Yeah. He's like, why am I on screen? Let me just...
Ian, welcome. See, you made it on. Oh, by the way, someone also in chat earlier was asking what happened to the person that presented the last season.
Oh, I think they were. I think they were just hired actors,
Okay.
actresses, models, something like that. I believe.
That's what he was asking about. Ian, you made
yeah.
it on. Congratulations. All right. Actually, I'm sorry. Before we go to Steam, there's one more thing we have to look at together. Now, everybody, Andre, currently above me right here, put this on X earlier today. This is the sneak peek of the brand new PC UI, now confirmed to be coming tomorrow for the new season.
It's gonna be live tomorrow. That's right.
Prefer devs to do it over actors. I agree. So in the settings, you can switch to style 1 or style 2. And I love that you use Carino. It's very smart. This is my question for you. So this is the updated PC UI. Can you drag and drop items?
On the build that I used, not yet. I'm not sure if it's going to be available when it comes tomorrow because the test build is actually unfinished. So, for example, on this build that I was using, it's actually still pausing the background, as you can see.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not supposed to happen, or that should be something that you can turn on and off in the options menu. And basically, the team was rushing to get this UI out as soon as possible. So when it comes out tomorrow, it might actually not be fully featured.
Yep.
Meaning that some things such as drag and drop or not pausing the background might not be available, and they will have to patch it in after maybe a couple of days, something like that.
Because I think most people would agree with this. If you've played Undecember, if you've played Torchlight Infinite, normally within the first literal minutes of the game, you know you are playing a game that has a mobile port, or maybe the game was designed for mobile and was ported to PC because the UI doesn't function the game same. So standard isometric action RPGs, you can drag and drop items, you could throw them on the floor, you could move them everywhere. And with mobile games ported to PC, it's normally like click, select, and the item moves up, and it just feels very different. So yeah. But this looks like, I mean, as far as visually wise, it looks like a huge step in the right direction. This looks like a PC UI.
Yeah. And it's actually just the first step. Yeah, sorry, please go.
Oh yeah, real quick, a positive note on the inventory system. I'm new to this game, and I realized I could disassemble every item in my inventory without having to go back to a town. I just keep on grinding. I really like that. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but basically, that's one of the things that I also think that differentiates Torchlight from other offerings is that you can do as much as possible with as little UI clicks as possible. So basically, we try to make a lot of the same things accessible from the same menu, so that you don't have to go run to a certain town to talk to a certain NPC to conduct very basic
Frosty, but then the blacksmith would miss you if you didn't have to run to town. Like, what are you talking about?
I love being in town.
And you have to collect all of your yellows to sell them for gold, so you couldn't, you don't.
That's true. You have to like look at all the yellows. Oh my.
Well, you still have
Are
to
there
go
yellows?
to things.
All right, I just want to be as clear as possible. This was not planned today. This was not on the agenda. We are currently on the official Torchlight Infinite Steam page. Release date May 9th, 2023 for the 1.0 release. Currently holds a 70% mostly positive on Steam. And honestly, the first reviews, so we're just kind of bouncing back and forth. 9 out of 10 ARPG behind a 4 of 10 mobile game. Very nice. This is the type of game to play in between seasons of other games. This is exactly what Andre was talking about. Absolutely amazing game. The devs absolutely nailed it with the release of SS5. Technically, it's not out yet. Torchlight Infinite is a good game.
Filter for the bad comments. Let's go.
All right, fine. I'm not going
I
to
think
read
the
this
first
whole
one was
thing.
very objective.
Oh my God. I'm not reading this whole thing.
I know.
Has
Get the small. Oh no.
Has the tools to be amazing, but unfortunately, too many things are holding it back. Deal breakers, classes locked behind a paywall, gear doesn't show up on the character except weapons. Oh yeah, that is true. A lot of people don't like that. So Frosty, you probably noticed this, that your gear doesn't show up on your character. It's just MTX. Endgame mapping system is incredibly repetitive. Lack of interaction with league mechanics. I don't agree with that. I think the league mechanics are fun, especially not last league, but the previous league, which was Sweet Dream. That was my favorite season. League mechanics are too convoluted and require insane amounts of grinding. I don't really agree with that. Convoluted systems. All right, moving on. This checks all the boxes for predatory game design. It looks like there's potential for a mediocre game, but it is completely obscured by the mobile-first UI design. Daily login bonuses, limited time events, dozens of different premium currencies, microtransactions. Man, that paragraph is brutal. Isn't even mentioning the bugs or terrible UI. I don't want to read any more of that one. It's just mobile, shiz, ported to PC. Okay. All right. All right.
I think we can address some of those like step by step.
Just to be clear, and I said this earlier, and I deal with every single thing I just read in those comments when I stream Torchlight Infinite. I heard the game's pay to win. I hear it's mobile trash. I have to answer these questions every time I stream it. Right now, the 4 games in my seasonal rotation are Last Epoch, Torchlight Infinite, Dwarven Realms, and Diablo 4. And I'm going to be adding Titan Quest 2 and PoE 2. I think if you have not played this game, you should at least give it a try. It is a very, very, very fun, fast-paced action RPG that continues to improve, that does have some of the faults that were mentioned, but the term PoE light, I agree with. And I think free. I think it's fun. But yeah, it definitely needs some work.
I think we can address the monetization part. We've kind of been dancing around that. I think it might be worth talking about it.
Okay. What do you want to say?
So first of all, I would not consider Torchlight pay to win at all for several reasons. One is one that you see more commonly inside the industry is that the game is fully single player, and to which some people might add, oh, but you do have a leaderboard, so it might contribute to that. So that's a controversial question that we cannot fully avoid.
You know, Andre, let me pause you for a second. Talking about pay to win, I think we should put Andre between 2 portals. What do you think, Frosty?
Yeah, let's just throw him on over there. And I mean, I had a Reddit question about multiplayer. I don't know.
That goes hand in hand. Actually,
yeah. We need to put some pressure on you for these ones.
Yeah, I'll start with the Reddit question here.
Here we go.
Let me see if I can find it.
You are officially in the hot seat.
Okay, so Irekath from Reddit asks, when will full multiplayer be available? He elaborated, asking if there will be more parts of the game unlocked for multiplayer, and if there are any plans to increase the size of the multiplayer party, which I believe currently is 2.
2, yep.
Multiplayer, no short terms for multiplayer, and the reason is very simple. The reason is that we consider that monetization as it is, it's in a fair state. Because basically, to people who might not be very familiar with our monetization system, Torchlight has this pet system, which are the only microtransaction that actually comes with any bonuses or stat boosts. And the main way that pets can be useful is in regards to XP and loot drops boost. So these can greatly speed up your progression to the in-game in each new season. Now, in a single player only game, we do not feel like this is a concern because you're basically paying to shorten your campaign, paying to shorten your league. There is absolutely no content at all that is locked behind a paywall or that is locked behind such a sudden difficulty spike that you need a pack to get behind it. That's not going to happen. Unlike some other games that have been mentioned in this podcast, you do not need microtransactions to get behind a sudden spike in difficulty. That does not occur in Torchlight. What happens is that they do allow you to farm more effectively, which, for example, if you get into, the grinding flow of things, they may be helpful. Now, in single player, we did not find this to be an issue because the closest thing you have to multiplayer is basically a sort of leaderboard. As soon as you include proper full multiplayer, then the issue gets more complicated. So I would say not in the short-term plans unless we get a very different monetization system to what we have now. So no, not in the short-term plans.
So most people would consider in any game, single player, multiplayer, if I can swipe a credit card and make my character better, whether it's low or high, the game is pay to win. So that is normally, at least in the Western market, is all I can talk about. That now I think you are right that there is definitely varying degrees of pay to win. Some is a little subtle, some doesn't matter as much, and then you do have games like Diablo Immortal where it's like egregious, right? And I can say that the gacha system, in my opinion, is a pay-to-win element, simply for the fact that you are spending real money, which does give your character power. But normally the way I like to explain it to people is pets in general, the gacha system is not fully gated behind money. So for me, I normally put out a video every single season, and I call it my pet pull video, because I can pull about 50 free pets every single season. Now, of course, that doesn't mean that the system is not pay to win, but it's nice that at least XD inside of that system gives you, they're free. You can get them for free. But yeah, I don't know, Frosty, what do you think?
I pretty much agree, but I guess my main question is, if I spend money in the game and I still suck, is it pay to win?
Which
Pay to lose.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not that great.
which does happen. For example, our best times, they all come from when we organize those speedrun events, and they're restricted, so the server doesn't have any pets, anything like that.
Okay,
And
great.
on average, the times that you get from those, from the players within those events, they are much faster than the average players in a normal server, even including pets. So now the question is, if they had the pets as well, would they be even faster? Yes, they would be even faster.
Yeah.
But what this goes to say is that there is enough of a skill component to the game, enough of a mapping knowledge component to the game, that it's not like just having a decent pet is gonna actually make your whole mapping and grinding strategy faster than a player who actually knows the game.
Real quick, you mentioned speedrun competitions you guys host. I'm just first time hearing about this. How would people know about these? Where do they look for them? How do they sign up? How do they enter?
So this season, the way that we're actually planning to do it is that we're trying to do everything in-game. So in-game, there will be a speedrun server.
Oh, cool.
Ideally, it's gonna open like something like 2 or 3 weeks after the season launches. We're not sure about the specific dates yet.
Nice.
Because we need players, we need players to have enough time to get used to the new season mechanics, to the new meta, and after that, we'll hopefully open a new server inside the game that is, like I previously mentioned, probably not going to have the auction house either. So if we do a full SSF server, it's going to be no auction house, no pass, no nothing, and then it's going to be a speed run through that. And so promotion and sign up wise, it's going to be promoted over all our socials, of course, and then you're actually going to have the full entrance for that specific server inside the game. And we're hoping to this season have full-on in-game leaderboards for that. So,
Nice.
for example,
Cool.
yeah,
I think that's awesome.
So, let's say we define the clearing as, for example, defeating a first-time traveler. It's gonna be displayed in game, so you're gonna have a leaderboard for that, and that's what we're aiming to do. I'm not sure what the percentage of development progress for that is right now, but that's the general direction right now. Just having a better integration between the events that were previously being held fully through socials and actual in-game leaderboards and scoreboards.
Okay.
Andre, how many people are working on the game? Like, not like obviously XD as a studio is pretty big, but as far as the team that works on Torchlight Infinite, how many people are developing the game?
I'm not sure exactly how large the development team is right now. Let me see if I can get a general number.
And everybody in chat, after this section, we will open it up to Q&A from the audience, just FYI.
I will say, I probably cannot give you the specific numbers, but I would say it's a relatively small studio. So I've got the numbers for the full staff here. So this includes the development team and then the publishing team. And the publishing team, as you might know, we work on several projects, so we're not exclusively tied to Torchlight.
Yep.
And both of them were just talking about a few dozen people.
Okay. It's like good.
I mean,
company like Diablo 4.
Yeah, it would be, way smaller. Yeah.
No, but I mean, if you're talking about even 25 people working on the game, you have studios.
It's a bit more than that.
Yeah, I mean, you have studios like Crate that made Grim Dawn. That's like a studio of 15 people. The initial size of Last Epoch for EHG was like 40 people. So, no, I mean, it's solid.
All right. Well, I'm ready to get started with the quick fire questions with the hard-hitting quick answer questions here. What's your favorite food?
Food. Oh, I have this almost like OCD thing with food where I like very basic, simple stuff. So I basically live off of tuna, oatmeal, boiled eggs. Yeah, oatmeal. I like oatmeal. It's safe. It's safe and consistent.
Nice.
Okay.
You always know what you're getting.
Do you like listening to Slim Shady, Eminem?
Slim Shady. Is there any specific reason for that question?
No, I'm just asking.
Not really, I would say.
Okay.
I mean, he was kind of popular in Europe when we were going through high school, maybe, but I don't think I've heard any of his recent stuff.
Okay.
Will you consider a better league start time for EU players other than 4 a.m.?
Oh, that is very difficult because we timed the league start with China. So the league is opening at the same time globally. And I do not think that there is a time schedule that will be satisfactory for all three regions. So basically the way we schedule it right now is that we had to basically prioritize North America and China, which are, well, not just China, but also, countries like Japan and Korea. So we basically had to make sure that those were daytime and it was impossible to basically
Okay.
ensure that Europe will be daytime as well. Sorry,
See-
Europeans.
Seeing as the Western releases on the 4th of July, are we going to get some kind of special something in the West to celebrate?
I wonder if the devs actually realized that the 4th of July was going to be.
I think it's like the 4th major holiday in all of the United States. It's absolutely huge. That's okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
That will be a very controversial
get
thing.
like a eagle outfit, you know.
They should drop a bald eagle pet. That's free, of course. You know, it's free.
Yeah, of course it's free.
Duh. All right.
Okay, do you watch anime?
I've watched more in the past, not so much as of recently.
All right, real
the
quick.
last,
Yeah, go on. No, I was just gonna ask
the last,
one anime.
yeah, the last anime that I watched recently was actually quite old, but I only got to it recently. Monster, the one about the doctor like chasing the serial killer, Johan, and sorry. Yeah, please go on with your question. I kind of cut you
Oh
off.
no, it's supposed to just short answer. You don't really watch it. It's fine. I mean, one
I
more
watched more of
question.
it in the past, not so much as of lately. Yeah.
Okay, what's going to be the strongest hero next season?
Perfect, honest answer. I actually do not know because what happens, and this is also very straightforward explanation that I got from the dev team before, is that of course they have their own expectations for who's going to be the strongest hero.
Yep.
And then like 2 or 3 weeks into the game, some player discovers like this way of combining some mechanics that were outside their expectations.
A
and
hidden synergy.
yeah, basically. And then they're like, oh, we didn't actually plan for that. So even if I could give you the answer regarding what the devs think is going to be the top 3 strongest heroes, it might very likely not be accurate. That's all.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you have any tattoos that you regret?
It depends on my mood. Sometimes all of them, even. Sometimes I'm like, oh, what will life be like if I never got any of them?
I see.
Yeah, like, sometimes you're going through immigration at certain airports and
Yeah.
you get randomly stopped every time and you kind of start wondering, I wonder if I didn't have any of them, if I would still be randomly checked.
That
Okay.
happens to my brother. He's got tattoos all over. Happens all the time.
Yeah.
If Aaron pays for shipping for other things, like random objects in your office, like your boss's stapler, will you send that to him?
Yeah, why not? Sure, let's do it.
Have you ever watched the YouTube channel? This is from chat earlier in pre-show. Have you ever watched Linus Tech Tips, the YouTube channel?
I do not look like Linus. Oh god, why is that the second time that comes up?
We were talking about it in the pre-show.
Where'd you hear it? Where'd you hear it first?
Oh, so funny. I asked everybody, are you happy? I asked. So you do know the YouTube channel Linus Tech Tips.
Yes, I do know the YouTube channel. It has never even crossed my mind that I don't know what people are talking about.
What is the strangest tattoo that you have?
Strangest tattoo. Oh, I just got this one from like the road signs in Japan. Like when you're driving around through highways or whatever, they have that kind of dummy that's like waving around, telling people to wear their seatbelt. That's cute. Why not?
If there is anything you could snap your fingers and bring to Torchlight Infinite tomorrow for the new season, what would it be? Something the game's missing, something you want.
Let's go.
All those players who have been too stubborn to try the game because they're like, oh, it's made by a Chinese developer, it was made for mobile, and it's hidden behind this nasty mobile UI. Like just bringing that massive player base who's been afraid of trying out the game so far. And I am absolutely sure in my heart that we would have a very high retention rate among those players.
Okay.
That was my last question, Frosty. If you've got anything
I think
else.
I got like 2, maybe 3 more.
Okay.
If Aaron and I had to fight to the death, who do you think would win?
Aaron is looking kind of
dude.
Aaron is looking kind of jacked, but I don't know. I don't know how useful that is in an actual fight.
Yeah, I'm slow. And I'm not jacked.
But
I've got the dad bod, you know.
my wife says Aaron, so I mean it's okay if you agree too.
Frosty plays default. I can't read the chat. I shouldn't be reading the chat. Sorry.
Should I read it? No, I'm curious.
No, we'll get to chat. Frosty's gonna finish his questions. We'll move to Q&A.
Okay. All right. You know, if you can't answer that, that's fine. Let's ask one you can answer. If you could fight any other community manager in any other game, who would you fight?
Oh, that's a good one. If it was Diablo 4, you'd fight Adam Fletcher.
You could say no comment.
No, actually, I do have a comment, but I'm sure he's just doing some other games that you guys probably
Fine.
aren't paying attention to. It's actually one of our former co-workers. He went on to do a few other mobile games published by Lilith. He went on to do AFK Arena 2, I believe, and what's the other one?
Do you think you could take him? You think you could take him or what?
Yeah, of course. We almost fought at the office a few times.
Oh, perfect.
Okay, my final question. Would you consider bringing a boss into Torchlight called Diablo? So you can have Diablo in your game before Diablo 4 does. This would generate a lot of media attention for free.
It's a good question.
I wonder if it's actually copyrighted. Like, I may Google that.
I don't think you can really copyright.
Well, what you would do is you would bring in a big red demon and call it right. You know, like you just don't call it Diablo.
We can bring in a map. So first of all, that's what I was thinking of. I couldn't remember it. It was not his friend. It was like the mountain. Like there's a national mountain or mount called Mount Diablo, something like that, which is where Bravik used to go hiking or whatever. So maybe we have a map called Mount Diablo, and then we have like this boss that's like
perfect.
Totally not Diablo. Totally not Diablo. Something.
That's
else.
what you should name it. Totally not Diablo.
Exactly. Totally not Diablo. That's the boss name.
Honestly, I mean, it is truly a fantastic idea too. It is a really, really good idea. Okay, Frosty, that was your last question?
Yep.
All right, you officially, Andre, made it past the hot seat. Nice job. We are going to wind down the podcast with Q&A, switching back to our last scene.
Yes, sir. Also bring Twitch up here.
All right, everybody. If you are on YouTube, X, or on Twitch, this is the time where you can submit questions to Mr. Andre. Torchlight Infinite's new season, Clockwork Ballet, kicks off on the 4th of July, tomorrow. And I don't know what time. Isn't it super late? I think it's super late. I could look it up.
It's going to be 7 p.m. in PST. I'm not sure which
7 p.m. PST.
Yeah. So I'm not
late.
sure which time. So,
Okay, I got one to start out with. Mega Grubby asks, and I don't really understand what this means.
Oh, he's our Reddit mod.
Oh, well, there you go. He asked this question. SS4 slowed down the endgame by pushing cards and compasses to later stages. Having to clear 8-1 before using a compass is a pretty extreme DPS/defense gate. Any plans to move compasses back to somewhere in tier 7? What % of players complete 8-1? Whatever that means.
Good one. So actually, funny enough, I actually saw that comment on Reddit, and I asked the development team at the time, and actually they did move compasses up with like this quick cheeky last time revision before the build went out. So
Okay.
essentially in our revised final patch notes, compasses have actually been moved up so that the first one is gonna unlock in tier 7. And
Perfect.
regarding so yeah, I think that addresses half of the question. Compasses are going to be available a little bit earlier. And regarding how many players made it to time mark 8 in the last season, I don't have the actual full numbers in front of me, but I can say it was a very steep decrease after time mark 7.2. So basically, that's one of the reasons we actually tried to make the whole thing more stable, was that we didn't see such a sharp crash after a certain point in the mid-game progression.
Okay. Question from LV. Any chance you see a Diablo 2 style rune words in Torchlight in the future? Any topics around basically sockets or anything like that? And it's okay to say you don't know. Or...
It's more that I don't know what we can promise right now, because the development team is in a kind of awkward position in that regard, because of a lot of the functions that some of our more core players are asking right now, they would actually greatly complicate Torchlight Infinite's game mechanics, and we're still trying to position ourselves as a more fast-paced, streamlined, simple, intuitive offering compared to something like, PoE.
Okay.
So, of course, the devs are always thinking about, hey, should we introduce this? Should we have like such and such room system or something like that? But then someone comes along and says, bro, players are already complaining that crafting is too complicated. Season 1 players are complaining that they're coming back to the game and they don't want, for example, they don't want the passive tree to become like PoE or something like that. So, yeah, basically...
I actually think Torchlight is decently complicated. Just throwing it out there. Like,
Me too.
It's actually, like...
I think it's as complicated as you want it to be for what was designed for a very streamlined offering. So basically, you can make it to the in-game without much effort, just basically copying a build off of max roll and not putting too much thought into any overly complicated mechanics. But, if you're going for the leaderboards, if you need a lot of FE, if you're really trying to, cap out damage, you're going to have to put some work in.
Yep.
You might have to reset your character more times than you would expect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Senior Card Gauge asks, when I have multiple characters, it is annoying to have to move beacons to each character's inventory. Can we ever use beacons from the stash or some other shared inventory?
I would have to ask if that can be feasible.
Okay.
Development-wise, it should be very simple, but whether it will be implemented or not is not something I can answer right now.
All right.
Have you personally played Torchlight 1?
No, I have not. I saw
That is from
question
Walker.
in the comment section. Yeah,
Yes.
I saw that question in the comment section. No, I have not.
Okay.
Okay, Gazzy TV, the popular streamer best known for his ARPG game and hot tub streams, wants to know if the item For You Who Are Calm, which makes noises whenever frost spirits take damage, can be fixed. This happens in the Mistville menu. They keep popping the reaction, making you need to unequip the item for his own sanity, or he just keeps hearing stuff happen. That makes any sense. I did not know what.
I don't know what that means.
Basically, sound effects glitch? Or...
Yeah, it's like I think it's a chess piece. It's for you who are calm, which it's like something where frost spirits, when they take damage, an effect happens. So when he's in the Mistville menu, he's hearing this noise happen all the time. So if anyone's on the team listening, that happens.
I'll put
I
that down.
guess. Yep.
Andre, do you play any bullet hell games? An example would be like Vampire Survivors, Death Must Die.
I have more in the past when I was really into MAME emulation. At a certain point when I was in high school, I even kind of built this mini cabinet at home, but not as of lately. I haven't played any recent bullet hell games, I think.
Okay. Can you generally explain the new NetherRealm talent system for new players? And for those experienced players, what should they be looking forward to with this new system?
I'll split this into two parts. First, for returning players and then for new players. So basically the new talent system, it comes to replace another system that we had in place before that was called the trade cards system, which, it was a mechanic where basically as you grinded through the NetherRealm maps, you would have these cards that you would then level up and then build your own deck, which you could then, have different decks for different mapping strategies. The main issue with this is that the transition from mid game to end game was more steep and more painful than it should be, and there were honestly a lot of balancing issues with the trade cards in general, and we gave a lot of thought into how to balance this, and we basically decided, well, why don't we just scrape it all together? That's at this point, that's probably going to be a safer option. So then we introduced this new passive system, which is called the voice art in-game, which is basically it's a series of talent trees of passives that you basically just level up as you wish, and it's much more accessible in the sense that you can basically tailor it as you want. It can grant you something like 100% in certain game mechanics, so basically you're not as overly reliant on something like the RNG that you will get from the card drops, and you can basically start planning out your mapping style much earlier in advance. So what does this translate to into new players? They're basically going to have a more familiar ARPG experience. It works much more like a familiar passive talent tree system that you can just keep developing all the way into endgame.
Okay.
I understood that second part for sure.
I got a question around regional pricing. Andre, is it possible to have more specific pricing for the region, not based on the dollar or euro?
As long as we keep using one build, meaning one universal build that is sent out to all stores, meaning all the app stores, Steam across all regions, I do not believe it will be possible. We would have to publish the game separately. So, for example, we would have to have something like Torchlight Infinite, the North American server, Torchlight Infinite, the South American build, something like that. Then we could do that, but it's not in our plans. However, I can give players a very quick recommendation, is that if you do think that prices are too steep in your region, you can try to recharge via the official website, which basically cuts around the store commissions and
that's a good tip.
Good tip.
It does give you a certain discount. Yeah.
Okay, my final community question here. Macro Hiruma asks, any plans to add a Wilt-based character or hero trait? In the current game, Wilt has a very narrow build path and playable heroes. It would be nice to see the mechanic revisited and new ways to play it. And also, before you answer, can you briefly explain what wilt is for any new players or people who have not played the game yet?
Basically a poison system. Whether we
It looks like Void from Last Epoch. It's a purple damage over time dot.
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Whether we hope to have a wilt based hero trait or something focus on more wilt, not something I can answer right now. At this point, I do not even know who the next season's hero trait is going to be.
Carino. Sorry.
I mean, for Carino.
No, I know. That's
Oh,
what I'm
you mean
saying.
you want another Carino?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because how it works, first of all, is that the development pipeline is that you have different character designers working on different hero traits, and how they actually get published, it depends on not just what gets finished first, but also what the team lead thinks is more appropriate for this season, what's going to help push the season pass more and whatever. So, yeah, at this point, I cannot safely say what's in store for new upcoming heroes.
Okay. Have you played Diablo 4?
Very briefly. I played Diablo 2 a lot. I played Diablo 4 a lot, and I don't know. It felt kind of foreign to me. I don't know. I just feel more comfortable going back to Diablo 2.
Okay.
Okay.
I do think it's very important to get some hours in as someone doing an aspiring competitor product.
Well, I already told you I'm going to get you a copy of Last Epoch, so.
I would be totally up for streaming.
I am not getting a copy of Diablo 4. That's too expensive for me. But look into it. Maybe the company will get it for you. Just say it's part of work.
No. I do have Diablo 4.
Oh, okay. Good.
Yeah.
Normally, we put people on the spot and ask them 1 through 10, 10 being the best. What would you rate Diablo 4 in its current state?
Look, you're really trying to get me into trouble, aren't you?
Yes. No. You could just say no comment. You
Yeah.
could say no comment.
Or allegedly and then give a number.
I'll say no comment for now, but I would say it's also not the worst thing that's been put out recently under the
Nice.
Diablo
Not the
title.
worst thing. That's pretty good.
Not the worst thing. Oh, perfect. That's perfect. That's a good answer. That is a good
Put that on
answer.
the back of the next box.
All right, I'm just throwing it out there. Final warning on X, YouTube, or Twitch. If anybody has any questions for Andre, it is now or never.
Yeah, so Jemmy Silverhands asks, are there any plans to add to the main campaign storyline?
Question. Yeah, the campaign kind of drops off, and I honestly do not know. From what I've seen so far, not in. I would say don't expect it for the following season after this one either.
Okay.
I feel like even though from gameplay kind of point of view, if you're one of those players that cares about lore in general, it does feel kind of like dropped off. But I guess what the dev team felt was that most players didn't care about the lore that much, so they were like, "Oh, let's just focus on the meat and game mechanics, and maybe we'll get back to this sometime in the future when."
I can't speak for everybody, but at least the people in the part of my community, there are some people that like lore, but an overwhelming majority, it's how fast can I beat the campaign to get to end game? Or there's actually people, not right now, but earlier in chat asking, is there ever going to be an end game or a campaign skip? Kind of like an adventure mode in Diablo. Like people, I feel like most people will like that.
I mean, that's personally the case for me. Like, I am not one for lore in most games. So, for example, a quick story. So, I don't know if you guys know him, but we had this previous community manager, Lauren, which actually sits behind me in the office. And he's playing the new Elden Ring DLC right now.
Nice.
And what's hilarious to me is that as he's playing the game, he has like two screens. On one screen, he's like, playing the game. And then during his downtime, he's like watching lore analysis videos. He really can. I mean, it's just interesting to me, like how people can get such a different experience from the same exact game. Because, like, I have never personally looked into the lore for any of the Souls games, like, but I know that's something of
Bloodborne's pretty good.
yeah.
Just saying.
So in the case of Torchlight, I think most of the player base have not, carried that much for lore that it has become a high priority in the development team's eyes.
Okay.
Let's just phrase it like that.
Sweet. I'm good, Frosty.
Yeah, I'm good too. I think we got through a lot today.
Yeah, holy
Thank
smokes,
you.
it was a lot. Andre, do you have anything you would like to say at the end, sir? The floor is yours.
I know a lot of players on the stream right now are not Torchlight Infinite players. I'm guessing most people on stream right now are less Dog players, I would say.
We
New
don't even
season is coming.
We don't even like Last Epoch. What game is that?
New season is launching tomorrow. SS5, Clockwork Ballet. It's going to be launching July 4, 7 p.m. PST. So if you have not, please check it out. If you were, pushed away by the mobile UI, we did make some improvements to it. I would say it's much closer to what the industry standard for ARPGs is right now. There's still a lot of work to be done as far as UI and controls go, but speaking of controls, we've actually done a lot of work this past season where if you like playing on a controller, that's actually feasible right now. Not all devices are supported right now, but I would say most are. And it's actually also being implemented to a point where you can use a control for basically most menu interactions, except some where you're still going to have a mouse. I don't know about you guys. I personally play with a controller most of the time because I get really bad carpal tunnel on my right hand from all the mouse clicking in ARPGs. So I do prefer playing with a controller. So yeah, next season is right around the corner. If you have not, then please check out SS5 Clockwork Ballet coming tomorrow. I promise you, it is much, much better than you expect.
All right. Andre, thank you so much for joining me and Frosty today. This was a very fun podcast. And in the future, of course, you are welcome back. Clockwork Ballet SS5 kicks off on the 4th of July. And it's going to be a lot of fun. I main Carino. I got a new Carino class. So, of course, I am excited. So that's going to do it for episode 3 of the Town Portal podcast. And once again, I'm going to give the final word to Frostylaroo.
Oh, my God.
Once you give me the thumbs up, I've already got my finger on the button.
Okay. Well, thanks, Andre, for coming and sharing your insights with Torchlight. Anyone watching, feel free to look Andre up. I think you stream, right?
So I've actually never shared my personals because that's always been a point of contention. Like, should I get my personals mixed up with work? But
well, if you do comment,
yeah, I would say I can make like a gaming specific account that would be more isolated. It would not be my work account, but it would also not be my full personal account.
All right.
And I could stream Last Epoch for that.
Yes. Okay. So exactly. Aaron's going to probably post this episode on his YouTube. Comment your stream information. You're going to be streaming Last Epoch. And everyone, feel free to like, comment, and see you next time on the next podcast. Bye. Thumbs up.
Perfect. Bye. Thank you for having me.